What's up, guys? Jay Lee here, Northwest Podcast. I got a good one for you guys today. Today I'm going to be talking about the sexual market, how women sell themselves, the whole slut shaming concept, and then also, hypergamy, how that plays into hypergamy, and how women control the sexual market. Okay, let me jump right into it. Now, first of all, we've got I don't know if this is a Twitter or an Instagram post. I really don't. I'm not on those mediums. I usually just stick to Facebook. But anyway, I'll just say it's fucking Twitter. I really don't know. So this person, Han, on Twitter, probably some e-thought, probably some, OnlyFans girl, probably some cam girl, right? Who's probably making I was talking to somebody and they said they knew a girl who was making $12K a month. And that's probably, who knows, that's probably not unheard of. That's probably not so astronomical, it just depends on the girl. It depends on how hot she is. They were saying that some girls make $12,000 a month through OnlyFans, and I'm not surprised at all. I guess there's a market for it. The economy guys or economics guys would be like, oh yeah, well, there's a market for it. The free market provides, right? But guys like us who are red pilled, we know better. We know that this is harming society. We know this is, we know this isn't good for us. Just because something sells doesn't mean it's good for the world or whatever. But anyways, so this person, Han, this probably an e-thought, a cam girl or a OnlyFans girl, whatever, says OnlyFans has really shown how prominent slut shaming is. Men happily watch porn daily, but now hate that girls can use the market that males created. It's called Blameshifting right there, to their advantage and make a living from it. Don't hate the worker when you consume the product. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down, what she's doing, piece by piece, and talk about it, because this is something that is common. This is something that the way she's set up this post and this point is there's a lot of depth to this. Okay, so first off, I say men don't slut shame, women do. We just recognize that sluts are only good for one thing, and marrying ain't it. I said that because I wanted to provoke a response. I do believe that men slut shame. I don't care. I slut shame. I think sluts should be shamed. I think that, there's definitely a double standard. On the one hand, and there's a double standard for men. I get it. We like sex, and that's a problem. But the issue is this, when you love someone, you should really be attached to that person. You should have sex with that person, and sex should be with you, within your marriage or relationship, whatever. But see, the whole game is distorted. Ideally, that's what it would be, but the whole game is distorted. Women have, from top to bottom, created a sexual, there's lust in the world, let's put it that way, okay? And that's a big problem for a lot of relationships. There's lust, right? People stray, men stray, women stray, right? And they do it because they want to taste something else. They want to enjoy pleasures from someone else. And part of me is like, yeah, maybe that's not so bad, but one of the issues that I have a real big problem with is just the way that women go about doing it, the way that they've set the whole thing up. So basically she's saying, essentially what she's saying in this comment is she wants to be a slut and she doesn't want to get judged for it. She doesn't want her value to get lowered by being a slut, by making money through sex, by selling sex, selling sexual pictures of herself, selling sexual videos of herself, etc. She doesn't want her value to be lowered. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. And unfortunately, that's just not how the world works. You just can't do that. If a man or a woman decides to stray in their relationship, there's going to be consequences. On the one hand, it would be nice if we could all just have love and also sleep around on the side. Sure, there's a lot of pleasure in that. But on the other hand, it's a breach of trust. You're breaking the trust of the relationship by doing that, right? You're breaking the loyalty bond. You're breaking the bond that you and the other person has, okay? So that's why it's yeah, you can do it, but there's going to be consequences. So what she's saying is she doesn't want any consequences, and she's blame shifting when she says that males created. Actually, I don't know. I would say it's a joint effort. I would say certain males created it. I would say certain males created the porn industry. I would say some males exploited women. But on the other hand, prostitution is probably one of the oldest professions in the world, if not the oldest profession in the world. And I myself argue that prostitution, that female nature is fundamentally prostitution, that hypergamy is prostitution. When a woman is selling herself, when a woman is trying to find the highest value male, she is essentially selling herself. She's saying, hey, I got this intimacy, I got these nice boobs, I got this sexy body. I will give you sex if you give me money. I will give you sex if you provide for me, if you give me a nice life, if you put a good roof over my head, if you take me on vacations, buy me dinner, all the things that come with a relationship, all those perks, the things that women want. When a woman says, I want you to take me on a date, we don't ever do anything. Let's go do something. When a woman says, I want you I want to go out and experience life, etc. What she's really saying is she wants you to buy her shit. What she's really saying is she wants you to pay money to go out and do things. And what she's really doing when she's saying that is she's saying, I want a guy who I can have a fun, cool life with. And yes, on the one hand, that involves being intimate with him and going and doing stuff with him, but it also involves money. And it's, what can the guy do for me, right? What can we do together, sort of, but also what can he do for me? Like, oh, can he take me out on expensive dates? Can we go on boat rides? Can we go on trips and vacations and do that? And it requires money, right? This is what women want. They like these things. They like these experiences. They call them quote unquote adventures sometimes. And yes, sex is involved with that. Let's go to a hotel in Vegas. Let's visit France. Let's go to Italy. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's all requires money. And so this is really playing into her hypergamy, and it's playing into her, her idea of, oh, I'm going to have this great life with this great guy. But guess what? The guy's got to finance it. She's not going to do it herself. 9 times out of 10, she's not going to pay for it herself, because that's not part of her narrative. That's not part of her storyline. Her storyline, which is what Disney created and all these Hollywood movies created, is this guy he's great, and you go on and do all these adventures, etc., etc. Well, that's Hollywood, and guess what? It costs a lot of money to make those movies. So guess what? To finance that cool, fun life that she likes, and let's go do stuff that life that she wants, it's going to cost a lot of money, and she doesn't want to pay for it, because that's not part of her narrative, because she's the female. And this is that whole narrative where the white knight comes in, protects the female, gives her everything she wants, etc. That is on the one hand. On the other hand, she's got this bad boy narrative. So women are dualistic, if not, more than dualistic. They probably got 4 or 5 different narratives and storylines running in their head. This is why women are oftentimes batshit crazy when you really get to know them, because they've got so much going on. But they've mainly got two main narratives. On the one hand, they want the white knight, nice guy, provider, and when I say nice guy, I mean sweet guy, Hollywood guy, the cute sweet guy on the one hand. And then on the other hand, they got the bad boy. They got the Antonio Banderas, the man dressed in black with the black leather jacket and the black boots, the bad boy. So they got the nice white knight, and then they got the bad boy, right? These are the 2 narratives that women want, right? And the problem with most men is most men fall in the middle. Most men fall in between. Most men are not fully one way, and they're not fully the other way, right? But guess what? The guys, the sweet, caring, loving guys, that's the guy they want for long term. The bad boy, etc., is the guy that they want for short-term sex. Some women might say they want the bad boy for long term, but in reality, the bad boy doesn't really work very well with the domestic life. He's not very docile. They like the fact that he is a player. They like the fact that he's out carousing with women. And in fact, it turns them on when he has other women in his life. That turns them on. So you got to understand that is the female storyline. So when women say, I want I want to go do stuff, I want to do that, da, da, da. It's like, that's what they're talking about, okay? So she says here, don't hate the worker when you consume the product. That's all I'm saying. So what she doesn't understand is that they've created the product. So I'm gonna go down here to my comments. So of course this is my alt. I call it alt. This is not my real name. This is just a Facebook alt, like a, burner account, whatever, that I use to post and to get reactions and things like that. So I say, this is blame shifting. She's doing something she knows is wrong and then blaming men for it. Very common. I mean, I think that women know that being a whore is technically wrong. I think women know the difference between right and wrong. I think humans know the difference between right and wrong. Problem is, there's this big temptation. Problem is, it's very easy for women to do wrong. Okay, and you get, when that happens, when you're spoiled, it's like you have $1 million in the bank. I mean, you're gonna fucking spend it. You should probably save it. You should probably be very scrupulous with your money, but you have $1 million in the bank, and because you don't have the right character, because you're not wise and smart, what do? You go blow it, you go spend it. And this is kind of what women do. They have something great, they have a gift to give to men, which is sexuality, which is intimacy, which is love. They could give that to one man, but instead of doing that, they waste it. They go and they give it to the bad boy, and they run around because they're encouraged by feminism to sleep around until they're 30. Right? So this is all part of that. So what she's doing is she's saying, oh, well, men do it too. Well, men watch porn. Men buy our pictures and our OnlyFans and our cam things. So it's okay. Well, first of all, it's not all men. It's some men. And not only that, okay, well, I'm going to get into that in a second. Basically right here. So I say, by the way, when you really get into the science of what she's saying, it comes down to business. Women have successfully created a scarcity in a market where there's actually no scarcity. So what they've, there's women everywhere, but they've created a scarcity because they always want the highest value thing. They're like, hey, wait a minute, men want me, men want sex, therefore I'm going to sell myself to the highest bidder, right? Women have successfully created a scarcity in a market where there actually is no scarcity. They've done this through hyping up the value of themselves and sex. This is why sex sells, because it's not easily acquired. This is basic business. So in fact, women have created the business model around selling themselves, and they've done it probably since forever. Only until cameras were invented, they often sold themselves through relationships and marriage. Now they're selling themselves through the video and internet mediums. So I will say this. Women have a good quality product. Sex is very good quality. It's not shit, right? If you have a great product, you don't sell it for cheap. You sell it for high money because you know that it's a great product. You know that this product will get a lot of money, right? And it's the same principle with women. They know that men want them. They know that they have something valuable. And what's crazy is when you think about porn and when you think about OnlyFans and when you think about cam girl stuff, the amount of miles per se that they really can get out of sex and can get out of sharing their body with the world is pretty crazy to think about. The amount of men that, for instance, if you go on any porn site and you watch, you click on any video, it's got as many views, or if not more views, as your average YouTube video. So basically what that means is that it's being consumed a lot. Now this is part of that fact, is part of her blame shifting strategy. She's saying, oh, well, the product is being consumed a lot, so therefore men are complicit as well. And it's actually men's fault because we're just giving men what they want, right? When in reality, that is blame shifting. So she's removing accountability, which is common. Women remove accountability all the time. Oh, well, men do it too. Men like sex. Men have sex before marriage. Men are sluts too. And so this is blame shifting. So it's like, oh, you don't have to have any accountability. You don't have to have any responsibility over your own actions. It's all good because men do it too. So therefore, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have your fun, etc., and everything will just be fine and hunky-dory because men do it too. That's what she's essentially saying. Of course, we know that that's not the truth. We know that the more women show themselves, the less respect that they'll have by quality men. Now, this is why women are getting into relationships with beta men, because beta males are like, oh yeah, I totally agree. You have so much value. Being a sex worker doesn't remove your value. Woo, woo, woo. And they're saying that because these men are weak. Beta males, a man who has no standards is weak. A man who will accept a single mother, for instance. A man who will accept a woman who's got a porn history, for instance. A man who will accept a slut, for instance. Just because he has nothing better. He can't get anything better. And, one of my hangups today is like, in this day and age, is like they're all like that. You have, in order to have love, quote unquote, you have to get with one who's been around the block and back. You have to accept her with her sordid past, with her dirty, slutty past, and who knows what she's bringing to the relationship. STDs, emotional baggage, mental baggage, because women are not the same as men. When women get into sexual relationships with men, women lose. They lose value. They lose, emotional integrity. They lose character integrity. They lose their honesty. They lose personality. They lose mental integrity. Okay, the more a woman is a slut, the more it's going to change and mold and adapt her disposition, adapt her character to being that slutty woman. Okay, a woman who starts out as a nice, sweet, quality virgin girl, by the time she's 30 and by the time she has slept with hundreds, 200 men, she's going to be damaged as fuck. And then, now she's ready for you after she's gone through the cock carousel, after she's gone through the sex gauntlet. Now she's ready for you. Now she's ready to give you her prize. And what is her prize? It's not a prize anymore. It's been used and used and used. Her intimacy has been used and used and used. So by the time you get her, she's just like an old used bicycle that everybody in town has ridden. Okay? And again, she could be having STDs, bringing that into the relationship. She's got emotional baggage she's bringing into the relationship. How can she really love you? How can she really treat you quality when she's been through all these other emotional attachments? Because we all should know that women have to have emotional attachment before they have sex with a man. Now, granted, a woman can just, sleep with a dude within an hour of meeting him. That's true. And you could argue and say, well, there's not an emotional connection in that. I don't know. I beg to differ. I think the way women choose men, even if it's very quickly, is emotional. Women are emotional. So when a woman is choosing a man for sex, her emotions are involved. And when a woman isn't being loved, when she's just being used, I think that women eventually, they start to get jaded. And I think that many men will agree with me here on this point. The more sex that she has, the more jaded, the more messed up she is, the less she's able to really love a man, the less she's able to pair bond. And there's actually science behind that. Anyway, so, we live in an evil generation, man. See, look at this right here. And this just proves it. This just proves... people, if you post stuff like this, people will tell you how they feel. Nothing wrong with selling pictures of your hole. Just like there's nothing wrong with making bulk coin as a porn star. Yes, there is. It's immoral. It's wrong because how do you feel about it? How do men feel about it? They don't want a used up slut. They don't want to marry a used up slut. On the one hand, like, sure, it's fun to watch porn. It's fun to, the female body is great. It's sexual. It's amazing. But on the other hand, like, I don't want to marry this woman. She's not going to be able to love me with any kind of loyalty. I don't want this woman to be the mother of my kids. Oh yeah, there's mommy getting fucked by 10 dudes. Like, that's disgusting, right? But porn stars are good for one thing and one thing only: busting a nut when you can't get to sleep, right? The shaming is in the fact that more and more women are choosing to stoop to a level that holds little respect. Exactly. There's no respect for that kind of work. Sure, you're making money. You might even become a millionaire doing it, but there's no respect involved in that. It's not honest work. Okay. Yes, you're fulfilling a function. You are helping men get their rocks off, but that is not something to be respected for. And if at some point you're probably going to want to have a kid, and do you want that kid to know what mommy did? You're just going to have to tell the kid, well, sorry, and he's not. Your kid isn't going to respect you. So what's going to happen? Your kid is going to grow up thinking, damn, my mom's a slut, and his mom is a slut, or her mom is a slut, right? And the kid is going to grow up, with no respect for women, because why should you, if you just show yourself, if you just, sleep around with anybody? So this guy says it's real effing strange seeing girls I know doing it when I know that they have a lot more potential than that. And if that's what they want to do, then hell, become a stripper or fly to Hollywood and do actual porn. Like, okay, that's a good point. And what he says is true. Like, they have more potential. Like, you could be a quality woman. You could really love somebody, but instead you're just giving away your gift to random men. So at the end of the day, this girl is basically just saying, accept me for what I do, and you're the hypocrite. You're the hypocrite because you watch it, men, even though you say, even though you slut shame and you say you don't want a woman who is a slut, you're a hypocrite because you watch it. It's like, yeah, if it's there and I got nothing better, I'm going to try to get my rocks off because it's there and it feels good. But at the same time, like, I don't respect these women. I'm not watching this like, oh, I respect this woman so much. Like, thank you for helping me get my rocks off. It's like, no, if I had a girlfriend, or if I had a woman to love, I hopefully wouldn't watch this shit. And I hopefully wouldn't use this to get my rocks off. I could be intimate with my wife. I could be intimate with my girlfriend, and then that would be it. And then I would leave it at that, because I don't need to watch all these other women when my woman fulfills me, right? But, she's trying to blame shift. She basically is saying, I want to make money by the easy way, using my body, which there's nothing to be respected about that, right? There's nothing to be respected about being a slut, being a whore, getting money for for selling sex. Anyway, but I also want to go back to my point where women really do sell themselves, and there's a whole it's a scarcity market, right? Because of hypergamy. So it's not like men can just go out. See, women have this idea that, like, well, what are you doing even watching porn? Well, half the guys who watch porn can't even get a woman. So it's like they're trying to blame men for something that they've created. They've created a scarcity funnel where they are getting the most benefits out of their own sexuality. They've successfully created that in society, and that's due to hypergamy. Now, that doesn't mean that women should just choose any man who comes along. The first man who comes along, I'm just going to choose him and love him. But when we're talking about love, hypergamy has nothing to do with love. Hypergamy is not loyal. Hypergamy is, oh, here's a better guy than the guy that I'm with currently. I'm going to monkey branch onto this other guy and dump the guy that I'm currently with. And that's what women do consistently over and over again. Women are not loyal because hypergamy itself is not loyal. Okay? Hypergamy is, I'm going to find the best man or the best value man, and 9 times out of 10, when these women find that guy, they're not even falling in love with that guy. They're just sleeping with that guy, and then they jump onto the next guy who's the highest value guy, and they sleep with that guy. But at the end of the day, what it really is they have created, willingly, knowingly, they've created this funnel where I'm the woman, you got to chase me. I get all the perks and the benefits in society because I have the powers to sex, and I say who I have sex with, and I say, and men want sex, etc. Yes, we want sex and we want intimacy, but we also want love. So they're taking advantage of our wanting to be with them, and saying, hey, yeah, you can be with me, you can love me, you can have sex with me, et cetera, but you have to pay the price for it. You have to either pay me literal money, or you have to give me attention, or you have to do something in order to impress me. You can't just be yourself. You can't just come up to me and I'll just jump into a relationship with you. So you got to impress me. You got to jump through some hoops. You got to be extra cool, or extra, you have to have extra value, or extra social status, or extra looks, et cetera, et cetera. And the hypocrisy of all that is they don't even really settle down with the guy that they quote unquote love. They're always looking for something else, or they're unloyal or whatever. And so this is where women have created a scarcity market, not only within the sexual market, but within the relationship market. What are you doing for me? Are you taking me on dates? Are you flying me to Cancun? Are you taking me to Miami Beach? Are you doing this cool thing, that cool thing? Do you have a lot of money? Are you going to make us live well? Are we going to live comfortable in your nice house? Are we going to be able to go out to expensive restaurants and enjoy our life? This is what I'm saying. Women are selling themselves. Women have sold themselves into these type of hypergamous scenarios, whether it's relationships, or whether it's flings, or whether it's marriage, etc. Women are hypergamous, and they're selling themselves. They've created a scarcity funnel within the sexual market. They've created this through hypergamy. You got to jump through the hoops. You got to be that extra guy. You can't just be regular. You can't just be yourself. You can't just act normal and nice, or whatever. You got to be extra. You got to be extra bad boy, or you got to be an extra provider, or you got to have extra social status, whatever. You got to have more than other guys. They want that leading man. They want that winner, right? So this is all part of this scheme. This is all part of this scarcity scheme that they've created, and it frankly it ties into the sexual market. The whole thing is usury. Women are using men. They're exploiting men. They're leeching off of men. They're exploiting our desires, which is fundamentally parasitic. It's fundamentally parasitic. Women who do this are parasites. And I'm not saying every woman out there does it, but unfortunately, female nature is, in many cases, parasitic when it comes to relationships, when it comes to the opposite sex. They want, and I have this friend that I talk to, and he calls it a horse. He says that they want to ride a man like a horse. And I'm like, I like that example. That's a good example. They want to ride a man like a horse, like they want to use him for utility. They want to use him, they want to ride him to whatever narrative or storyline that they want, whether it's he's a real man, he can fix stuff around the house, he's clean, he's a nice guy, he says nice things to me, whatever. They're always using the guy. He has to, it can never be normal. This is why relationships don't work. This is why marriages end. This is why people break up, because they're not accepting and loving the other person for who that person really is. And 9 times out of 10 in today's scenario, the man is sucking up to the woman. The man is chasing after the woman. The man has the daunting task of impressing the woman at all times and keeping her around. And this is why you have guys, even red pill guys, the idea of playing tricks and doing certain things to keep a woman around. And I hear this when I listen to Donovan Sharp. I hear this when I listen to Rollo Tomasi. Okay, you gotta play these games. I hear this when I listen to Patrice O'Neal. Even you gotta play these games to keep her around. You gotta act like she ain't shit. You gotta always be on your purpose. You gotta never be beta around her. Never reveal your emotions around her. Never open up to her. Never be vulnerable around her. Don't act beta. Don't act sensitive. Always be a man. Always be masculine, etc. Basically, you're saying you can't be yourself, because no man is totally stoic at all times. No man is totally masculine at all times. That's a heavy burden to bear. That's a heavy cross to carry, so to speak. That's very stressful. Oh, I gotta always be one step ahead of her. I gotta mold her into this thing that I want her to be. I gotta lay down the rules. And really 9 times out of 10, what it really comes down to is you're paying for shit, and she steps in line and stays in line and does what you want, etc., because you are paying for shit, because you're the breadwinner. And this is why men oftentimes try to go out and be a breadwinner, try to go out and make money so that they can keep her around with the money. They can basically train her to be subservient to him through the money, and it's this weird whole thing that I don't want to get involved with that. I don't want that, etc. So, anyways, and I don't even know if women want that. Maybe they do, but anyway, I mean, women like to be an appendage to a man with money, to the powerful man who's in control, and I don't like that idea at all. Like, I want, if I love you, etc., I want to be normal around you. I want things to be equal. I want there to be communication. I want us to understand each other, to love each other and stand up for each other and fight for each other, etc. But when I'm the winner, I'm this and that. I'm the breadwinner, I'm the ruler, etc. Like, that to me is not even normal, although many men have lived that life, have had that type of marriage, have had that type of relationship. That's weird to me. So anyway, at the end of the day, this is this is a lot of these women feel. They're blame shifting. It's like, oh, it's your fault. You're slut shaming us, yet also, you're jerking off to our material. You're slut shaming us, yet you also want to fuck us. Like, that's because you've created a scarcity funnel. That's because you have created a scenario where we can't easily have sex with you, and then you're basically selling yourself. So this is female nature, to create this scarcity funnel, to have power over the sexual market, to get the highest value man. And this is why men chase money. This is why men seek out, status. This is why men seek out success, etc. Because the more successful, the more status you have, the more money you have, then the more women you're going to get. And it's a weird thing, but we can't just attract a normal woman. We can't just get a quality woman who loves us, etc. Because women aren't like that. Women are trying. Women have this strategy, this dating strategy, this sexual market strategy, which is fundamentally hypergamous, which is trying to get the highest value male. And it spills over into the actual porn, and it spills over, and it's all connected. It spills into the OnlyFans and the cam girls, etc. Because it's all part of that strategy of getting the most out of their sexuality, getting the most out of their intimacy, getting the most out of their body. They know men are visual. They know men are visually attracted to sex, right? So they sell themselves in a visual pornography way. That's what porn is all about. It's all about that visual. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end it there. I made my point. Appreciate you guys listening. It's been another Jay Lee Northwest podcast. Peace.